Alright guys, Rick with Rally Sport Direct here doing a review on our 2015 WRX. We've got it up here in beautiful Big Cottonwood Canyon in Salt Lake City, Utah. Just wanted to give you guys my initial impression and then I'm going to review the 2015 STI. So, first things first, I've been driving this car a little over a week, put over 1,000 miles on it, and so I feel like I can give you guys a good initial review of this car. Now, overall, this car is great. I think for the money, this car is fantastic. Coming from a BRZ and an 05 STI, and I don't bash me here, I also have a Miata, I would like the car to be a little bit more hard edge. And so what I would like with this car, but being that they're so tuner friendly and aftermarket friendly, I know the aftermarket support for this car is just going to come alive. I mean, I can't imagine what this engine is going to feel like, you know, with tuning and an exhaust on it and an intake to really open this thing up. I'm just so excited for it. But what I would like to do if this were my personal car, I need a seat. I need an aftermarket, good supporting seat to help, you know, really complement this car. The cornering is just phenomenal, but the seat is not confidence inspiring, to put it lightly. The suspension, I would like it to be a little bit more hard edge. You know, this car doesn't have any LSDs in it, which is fine. It's got the torque vectoring on it, and sometimes you can feel those brakes, you know, stabbing away, getting this car in line, which is great. It's a really good idea. But I think some suspension on the car, obviously some wheels, the stock wheels on this are just okay, I guess. They could be worse, but definitely doesn't complement the large body, the large wheel arches. And this car with some wheels, some suspension, some decent power improvements, you know, a nice aftermarket seat, and this car is really going to transform itself. I can feel it in this car. The chassis is so solid and so just amazing. I mean, it's so stiff, but everything else, there's just some little things here and there that, you know, I feel like could use some improvement. Let's focus on power here for a second. Being that the turbocharger is located really close to the head, makes this turbo spool insanely quick. You're coming through these corners, you got a tight one here, give it the beans out of the corner and it just goes. And it goes and goes. It does fall on its face a little bit in the top end, but really where this thing shines is that mid-range punch. And like myself, I do most of my driving in that mid-range. I rarely wrap a car out to redline unless I'm, you know, really trying to go fast, but where this thing really excites you is right in that mid-range, and I love that about this torquey little F820 motor. I hear a lot of people complaining about the shifter as well, and I actually really like this shifter. It took me a while to like it, but it just is a cool little shifter, and I think Subaru, for a cable actuated shifter, has done a really good job. I have no complaints. It was a little notchy at first, but after driving, putting some miles on the car, it loosened up a little bit, and I really like the shifter, and I dig the 6-speed. The car just feels great all around, and we're actually getting a little bit of snow up here, which is kind of crazy being that it's, you know, late April. But this car, for the money, this car is awesome. Throw a little bit of mods into it, throw a little bit of money into it, and you have yourself a potent little daily driver. I like this car. Soon we're going to be reviewing the 2015 STI. Stay tuned to that. I'm really excited because, well, it'll be my first time driving it. I wanted to give you guys an impression of what, or I guess my first impression of the STI. I'm really excited. After seeing this car and what it's capable of, I can only imagine what the STI is going to be capable of. And we're just going to have a little bit of fun here before I end this video. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I feel like I'm smiling here. I like this car. All right. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you have a great day. Stay tuned for the STI review. All right, guys, we are in the 2015 STI, going for a drive up the canyon. Now, first initial response I get from this car, or I guess I should say my first feeling I get from this car, is it's just a lot more manly of a car. The steering is heavier, the clutch is heavier, the shifter is heavier, the car is just heavier in a good way, not heavier weight, just heavier. It feels more manly of a car. The engine is torquey. Now I know the WRX makes more torque down low compared to the STI, but it just doesn't feel like it. I mean, this thing just feels so torquey, like it just wants to go and carry the RPMs up forever. This car definitely makes more power in the higher RPMs compared to the WRX, which is definitely more of a mid-range car. This takes that mid-range and carries it all the way up, and that 2.5 is just lovely. This is classic STI feel to it, and I like it. The diffs, you can feel them working as you're going around a corner and you really give it some gas. You can just feel those diffs want to grip the inside tire, the outside tire. Everything is just wonderful. The steering is so sharp and so precise, and there's just so much grip in this car. It is unreal how much grip this car has. I cannot believe that. The steering, I keep on talking about the steering, but it is so sharp. It is about time Subaru put a proper steering rack in a car, and this is lovely. And I'm not even in sport sharp. Let's do that. Oh, you can instantly feel that when you go from SI drive. It kind of comes down a little bit, or the intelligent mode. You switch it up to sport sharp, and the car just kind of like, oh, hey, you want to have some fun? Yeah, let's have some fun. This is a cool car. The chassis, the suspension, just the feel of this car is just manly. It's a brute. This thing is a powerhouse. I was honestly expecting this car to feel very much alike the WRX. You know, they virtually are the same chassis, but this definitely feels special. There's something about this, and I like that Subaru has not lost that STI touch, that brutalness that is the STI. Now, it's still a lot more comfortable than my 05 STI, for example. The steering is as sharp as my BRZ, but you have the power, you have the enormous amounts of grip. It's not quite as fun and as sharp as the BRZ is, because the BRZ definitely has a flickable feel to it, and this thing, you don't really flick it, you just plow through the corners. And there's something cool about that too. We're gonna have a little fun here. I love the way this car rev matches. The way it takes this, the way it takes those corners. You just point and go. And all Subarus like you to give it gas in the corner. It just digs in and grips and just pulls you out of the corner. Something like no other car can seem to do. The brakes are great on this car. And again, everything on the STI, even from the last generation, as far as the brakes, the power, were always really good, but it was just the chassis, the steering feel that left me wanting more. And this car has that. Yeah. Oh, the front end grip on this thing is just unreal. Now, the brakes on the WRX weren't bad in any way, shape, or form. They're definitely upgraded from the last generation, but you swap from the WRX into this car, and you can feel everything. The brakes just feel more direct, more confidence-inspiring. Basically do a basic upgrade all around, and this car would be an animal. Now, that's what I like about this car, is if you want to leave it stock, there's nothing wrong with it. It is a phenomenal car right out of the box. Now, I shouldn't say no one, not very many people are going to buy a car like this and leave it stock, because you can feel the potential in it. You can feel it can handle more power, better handling, more grip, better brakes. You throw on a set of decent brake pads, maybe upgrade the suspension, the sway bars. I mean, we all know the EJ257 and the potential it has with just a basic tune and a downpipe, and it just really uncorks this engine. and there's so much more left on the table right from the factory. And it's hard not to do that. You buy a car like this and it's hard not to start modifying it because you can feel there's much more to be had. But right out of the box, this car is no slouch. I would recommend this car. I have a hard time recommending brand new cars just because of the price tag. But this car I would definitely recommend to anybody. Whether you're getting your first Subaru and you just want a sporty Subaru, I might recommend the WRX first. But if you want to do some autocrosses, you want to do some track days, you want a really fun, engaging, and that's the thing about this car is it engages you when you drive it. You don't just point it and it goes. And that's what I always worry about with new cars is with, you know, the electronic diffs and the WRX with the torque vectoring. I worry that, you know, they get so numb that it kind of ruins the driving experience. But this car, it engages. You have to drive. You still have to drive it. And you can have scary moments in this car if you want to. Or if you just want to go fast around a corner, drive at 8/10, and you know you're going to get through that corner in a hurry, but without, you know, puckering up and thinking you're going to die. But you can, and the car will probably still make it. Oh, this car. All right, well, that's a review of the 2015 STI. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next time.